Ben McKee, Patrick Brown, GoVols 24/7 here with our No Huddle following Tennessee's 33-27 win over Kentucky and Lexington, where the ghosts of many Kentucky losses are starting to swirl on aisle 11 here at Kroger Field. Tennessee picks up a win, a very important win for them, and I don't think it's too much to say that it's a season-saving win.
Yeah, Ben, I know a lot of Tennessee fans look at Kentucky and assume it's Kentucky. Tennessee always wins this game. It's an easy win. It's not been easy here the last few times Tennessee's come here. The last 3 or 4 games now have gone down to the wire. This one went down to the wire. And Tennessee ultimately, as Josh Heupel said after the game, didn't play perfect, didn't play great in some areas, have a lot of things to improve on. But ultimately they made enough plays and had enough of the gusto at the end to get the job done, and they finished the game with the offense running the clock out. That's going to be, I think, probably the proudest point for this team and for this offense too. And it's a shot in the arm to finally get a win on the road in someone else's stadium and celebrate it with your fans that travel with you after a couple of frustrating games at Florida and Alabama earlier this season.
Yeah, absolutely, and they deserve to celebrate this road win a little bit more, given how many questions they've had to field. We've had millions of conversations in the media about them not being able to finish on the road. So like you said, kudos to them for really sticking it to Kentucky. Some really tough runs. Joe Milton with a big scramble on a third down play that did not allow Kentucky to get the football back. And speaking of Joe Milton, he played really, really well tonight.
Yeah, I think you said 18 to 21 for 227 yards, around that.
One tutty,
just a couple of incompletions. When you don't have that many incompletions, it's hard to really complain too much about it. I mean, there's some plays where maybe he's got to come off his read and look right, and he's got somebody open, doesn't take a sack. But there were other times where the protection wasn't very good either. But I think the biggest thing from Milton tonight is he was able to make some plays on the run, particularly right before half. A big strike over here to Ramel Keaton, who maybe caught it, maybe got a toe in bounds. That's what they said, so that's what matters. Another good throw to Squirrel White. Had a good one from Dante Thornton, who kind of popped out. He started on the outside tonight and had a big play for 47 yards that got Tennessee a field goal. But Milton's ability to make a play on the move and escape the pocket and throw on the run and throw accurately on the run, I think, was a big part of this game. And certainly this is one of his better games, and Tennessee was able to take a good Joe and, unlike Alabama last week, turn it into a win this time.
Yeah, I thought he showed great situational awareness as well. There were a couple times where Kentucky brought a pretty hot blitz, and he knew where his running back was to kind of dump it off a couple times. There at the end of the game, sliding inbounds, knowing where the sticks were, which has been a point of contention throughout the season. And speaking of running, I mean, Tennessee's ground attack absolutely gets back on track. I mean, Jalen Wright was terrific in the first half, gets a little banged up to start the second half, and Dylan Sampson takes the baton and runs with it.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Wright had a great touchdown run to open the game, 52 yards, great block from Ollie Lane. He's able to make the safety miss and outrun everybody else. A good combination of his skills on display there. And Dylan Sampson comes in the game in the fourth quarter and shuts it out. I mean, just a really good, he's just a really good player. And it's hard to believe that against Florida they didn't play him. And in the fourth quarter here, he gets the call over Jabari Small and made some great plays. And so many times it looks like he's tackled or done, and he pops out of there and makes a play. There were a couple of them on the touchdown drive in the fourth quarter that gave Tennessee some breathing room. Also, the game-clinching drive here on a screen and another run he had that was really good. And he stepped up in the fourth quarter and helped Tennessee get the job done.
He absolutely did, and Tennessee's offense picks up the defense, whereas a couple of weeks ago Tennessee's defense had to pick up the offense against Texas A&M. The secondary did not have a great night. Devin Leary, Barryon Brown, Dan Key, they all had big nights, and Josh Heupel talked afterwards about them needing to be better in coverage, but they did do a great job of bottling up Ray Davis.
Yeah, I think Tennessee, you saw the impact of not having Kamal Haddon tonight. A couple of those corners struggled. The starters weren't great. The depth was even worse. At one point, they threw Ricky Gibson out there for a couple of plays. He's a freshman that hasn't played a whole lot this season. But if you're Tennessee's defense, the game plan coming in was not let Ray Davis beat you. He's the SEC's leading rusher, 111 yards a game. Tennessee was able to keep him to just 42 yards. I think his longest run was 8 yards, which means you're not having any busts with your linebackers and safeties, not a lot of missed tackles. The flip side of that is they let Devin Leary get going early and he threw for 300-something yards. But that would have been the game plan coming in, is put the game on this quarterback who's not played great all season and make him beat you. And ultimately that game plan worked for Tennessee.
Absolutely, and now Tennessee goes into the month of November with still a ton to play for. You have UConn, a semi-bye next week. We're allowed to say that. The players can't.
And then disrespecting the Huskies.
A big road trip to Missouri before Georgia comes to Neyland Stadium. So, been a frustrating season quite a few times this year, but still a lot to play for in the month of November, and who knows what other dominoes may fall to help you. So Tennessee picks up a very important 33-27 win here in Lexington, and we've got plenty of coverage of it up at GoVols 24/7. He's Patrick Brown. I'm Ben McKee.